Good morning, everyone. So, if you made it to this video, you are looking for a little bit of an instructional video on how to do the Rawtek Delete Kit on a CR TDI. So, without further ado, we are going to be jumping in and doing the delete on the CR TDI. Now, Rawtek does have an instruction PDF for this install. Do a quick read through on that. For me, there was a lot of information that could have been better flushed out or shown better as far as pictures go. Their pictures are pretty simple on there, so not really knocking the instructions. Everything there is pretty clear and laid out. It's just being able to see what you're doing if you're not familiar with these cars or what parts you're working on. So we're just going to make this video kind of following along with the instructions, and we're going to basically show all the areas where we're going to be working, everything we'll be pulling out, and hopefully have some nice turbo noises at the end of it. And as always, we'll be doing this on the ground, so we'll be suffering with all of you that do not have access to a lift, but just showing that you can get it done on the ground with a couple ramps, a couple jacks, and should be good to go. So let's jump in. So before we get into anything here, once you've got your kit delivered, just go ahead and make sure to get your stock tune downloaded. They have instructions on their website for that as well. I'll do a little quick overlay of the process here, but we basically just went ahead and got the tune. They're really fast. I mean, it's only a couple days, but you're gonna want that on hand if you're doing the job anyways, so you don't have any delays in getting the tune back onto the car once it's been modified. Otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and unbox our kit here. We did go with the ECO kit, so that's just the resonator delete, essentially, straight pipe kit. That is, I believe, the cheapest option that they offer that's going to utilize the stock exhaust system. We didn't want anything too punchy, too loud here. Just want to open it up, do the job that the DPF delete is going to be doing, and then also have some, a little bit of turbo spool sounds. All right, so quick overview of everything we've got here. So for starters, we got our downpipe. Pretty hefty unit here. Everything looks really nice with it. So that looks good, welds look good, shape looks good. Secondly, we've got what we're gonna call basically our resonator delete, or I'm gonna call it a mid pipe essentially. This is the forward section, so this is gonna connect directly to your down pipe. And then, what we call the aft section or the rear section, it's gonna go to your stock exhaust system. We also have a little coupler here. Comes with one 3-hole gasket, our EGR delete plate that we'll reuse existing hardware for. Got 2 band clamps, and then miscellaneous hardware that we'll be using to bolt everything together here. Also get a couple stickers from Rawtek, and then this one's pretty important here. You can get $300 rebate for your stock DPF system. One more thing I want to add out the gate, you want a high temp silicone or like a gasket maker. You're going to be using that for the EGR, and one other gasket is not listed in the instructions until you get to it, so make sure you grab some of that prior so you don't have to make a midway through parts store run. So like we've said, you've downloaded your stock tune. Next step is to pop the hood, start taking apart things up top. So we'll get the hood open, and we'll jump into what we've got to unbolt, what wires we have to disconnect under the hood. This is about as definition as a ramping project goes. Everything that you start with is really simple, so following along, first step's going to be undoing our battery. Next up, we're going to be popping the engine cover off, so pretty simple there. Just kind of feel around the corners where those are. Don't got to go all crazy on it. Break it off. There we go. So now we're going to move on to the first pressure sensor, which is on the passenger side. You're going to see it defined as kind of this black bracket right here. It has T30 for the, you're using a T30 for the main bolt here on the bracket, and then it has like a slip connection here. We're going to take that off so we can move this and take apart the remaining 3 bolts. So I'll bump this off. Pull the bracket forward. Let's see what allows us to pop that off. So now we're going to move on to take this connector off. With that one bolt out, we're going to be able to take these other two bolts out of it, kind of disassemble the bracket, which then we'll be able to pop these two hoses off here. A couple different brackets on here, so 2 tabs here. Go ahead and squeeze those out. Boom, there you go. There we go. Get our sensor off. 2 hoses loose, and our bracket off. So moving on from the first pressure sensor, now we're going to go for the second one. It's back here on the back of the motor. You have to remove this heat wrapping here. So we can go ahead and just pop that open. It's just buttons that hold that on there. When we do that, we're going to get access to that second sensor back here. There's going to be one bit we want to remove back here. It's going to be on the back side of that sensor. Same thing with the T30. Just going to get that in there and bump this out and pop that connector off. Our last bolt is going to be down below all this stuff. There's another one that you're going to have to take off. You have to kind of feel this one out as you're working on it. Pull that up through a little heat wrapping there. And then it's going to be the same deal with these hoses. So just disconnect those hoses. Okay. Took a little bit of wrestling on that one, but got a little blanket and the other sensor off. Okay, next up we've got 3 10mm bolts on top of this heat shield. So we'll go ahead and break those off and get that thing out of the way. There we go. So for the next part, back here we've got 3 wires, well 4 wires really, but we want to free them from the guides so that we can get them kind of out of the way for working on everything. So just pop that up, pretty simple, and then pull the wires out. And we've got the same thing down here. Now this is kind of one of those parts where the instructions lack a little bit in sort of clarifying like which wires you're going to be pulling up and how you're going to actually get to them in their present position. So, and it is a little hard to show with everything in here. Basically, you're just going to go back in here. There's 3 wires off this main loom, if you want to call it that you're looking for. And there's essentially going to be 3 guides on the firewall that you have to pop off in order to get to them. The hardest one definitely being down here in the middle, because there's really no way to get in there without just kind of shoving your hand down through. So now we've got those wires loose up here. These are the 3 we're looking for. Okay, so next up we have to disconnect the orange and brown connector, and they're near the battery here. So we have the orange one in this location, and then the brown one's actually back here behind that whole bracket of connectors. Okay, next up, oxygen sensor. Now I believe this is a 22 or a 21. It is a challenging amount of space to get this out. You just have to try to bump it, see if we can break it loose. Boom, there we go. Alright, so we're under the car now, and we have to remove these 2 brackets underneath the exhaust here. So these are going to be 13mm as well. We'll go ahead and get these off and start attacking the exhaust. Alright, now those 2 braces out, it's time to get up here and pop this O2 sensor out. So throw a 22 on that and see if we can get it out of there. We now have the O2 sensor out and hanging, so we'll get ready for the next step here, which is we'll just be removing this cable here, the connector off the exhaust flap. Okay, with that down, now we have to head back over to that side, start tucking the wires. All right, now there's 4 screws here that we're gonna have to remove. Okay, this is also one of those steps that's like way simpler on the lift. For us, people on the ground, take this whole tray off. Don't mess with getting the crap in your eyes and trying to get underneath the car completely to get to the other side. Just take the whole thing off. There we go. We have easy access to all the electrical crap we gotta deal with. Bit of an interesting thing here where this does deviate from the instructions for me. I can only remove the O2. It says that you can remove 2 lines when going to the exhaust flap and then the O2, but the only one that seems to be actually disconnectable is the O2 sensor. So my band clamp at the back here, totally rusted on. There's nothing left of those bolts. It's become one with the exhaust pipe, so we'll see what happens if we take the front off, if we can maybe beat that until it just falls apart. But either way, we'll get up here, we'll pop that front clamp off up there, and then see what we can do from there. Northeast problems. Now that we've got everything off back here, just gonna go ahead and cut this off since that clamp's not giving up. And then we can move on to getting everything out from up there. It's just high school all over again. It's gonna go.
Okay. Yep. So there we go. All right.
Oh, that was nice. Thank you. So now you have to take out your axle heat shield, which is going to be those 2 bolts you can see right there, 16mm. Lights giving up. Of course.
Look at the focus.
Now you got to pop your axle off here. So I think this is 6 bolts and it's a 10mm triple square. It's got to come over here actually. Okay. Now that we've got the axle out of the way, we're going to be taking this V-band off, and then there's 2 EGR. Let's get up here and show you. Yep, right up there. We have 2 13mm that go to the EGR flange that we have to pop off as well. Okay, so we've got the DPF cut off from that kind of downpipe piece. Now we're going to put off one hard line up there, and that should allow us to at least pull this down enough to, well, that should come off completely then, and then we can get the sensor out of it. Alright, so Eric's getting the V-band off the turbo right now.
You should be able to get that right now.
Got all the sensors out. Now,
Little turbo in there. It's probably all fucked up for you guys, but she's off.
please. Oh, wait a second. There we go. Okay, good. Woo! Alright, so we removed the Egt sensor, which has the orange connector on it. So that's been put in the new downpipe.
Before we tighten any of the, like the V-band or this bolt down, we need to get the rest of the exhaust in. Yes. So you need to get the rest of the exhaust out.
Nice. Shout out for having a tool for the job. Hold the bolt. Okay. Oh no.
What?
I put it on with the box. Shit.
This probably came through like this.
Alright, getting the pressure sensors put back on the motor now. Passenger side is just going to be bolted on and connected. Nothing, no hoses running to it. And then the driver's side is going to be one hose running. That's all that's left. And the sensor connected to it as well. I hate this camera. Oh my god, buddy, the camera broke off. The camera totally broke off.
Alright guys, so here we are with the Flashzilla. So you go to tuning, wait for it to load. It says continue with writing this file. You select yes. And then that is our original file, that is our modified file. And there it goes. We'll be back when it's installed. Alright, we're gonna get our first startup going. Here we go.
Alright, so first fire up, good to go. Sounds like it runs at least. So we got thunderstorm coming, as it seems like a common thing whenever we're doing this. I don't know why. But we're gonna wrap everything up tomorrow, and then we'll take it on the road and get some shots of it going on the road and see what it sounds like, you know, with that Eco kit. Still using that stock muffler. But alright, see you tomorrow. Whew, alright, we got everything wrapped up. Super hot day today, so sweating like crazy as normal, but we're gonna get in the car, take it out for its maiden voyage, see what it sounds like, make sure everything's running good. Yeah, so let's get to it. Hop in, buddy.
Huh?
Hop in, it's the first drive. Do you think it's gonna be interesting? That one cross member, it's too close to the one U-bolt. I have a feeling we'll hear some vibration.
Okay. We can always turn the U-bolt.
Right. Oh God!
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh God! Yeah, you know really.
Yeah, you don't really hear anything.
Yeah. It's a lot faster. good. I mean, it's interesting, like you can hear it in here, you know what I mean? So there we have it. If you want to go sleeper route, or you just want like essentially a modest, well, a good performance increase with like modest response as far as sound goes, the Eco Kit is definitely the way to go. I mean, you're sitting in a garage, you can hear the turbo and everything spool up, you can do all that stuff, but when you're out on the road, you can't hear it, which is kind of interesting. Might have to change that, I don't know. If we do change that, it'll be in a link here eventually to what it sounds like after that, but I think I'm good with it for now. So, all right, hope that helped you out. Moving on to the audio now. It'll be somewhere else.